Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's Explainer. We're tackling a seriously high-stakes, adrenaline-pumping topic right now. Day 48, Incident Response. I want you to imagine the exact moment when everything just goes wrong in a digital environment. You know, the systems fail, the screens go completely dark, and the pressure is immediately on. That high-stress reality? Yeah, that's exactly where we're operating today. And we're going to break down exactly how you navigate it.
Picture this. It's 2 a.m. and the digital alarms are just blaring. Your servers are down. Or even worse, sensitive data is actively being compromised. It's literally like a sudden medical emergency or, a fire unexpectedly breaking out in your building. So I really want you to ask yourself, when those alarms go off, what is your very first move? Do you panic? Do you just start pulling the plugs on everything? Or do you follow a precise calculated procedure?
Here's our agenda for this explainer. First up, welcome to Day 48. Then we'll hit the NIST framework, containment, recovery, the incident response plan, and finally, the project.
Welcome to Day 48. Theory meets reality.
These core topics right here are the essential pillars you absolutely need to survive a digital crisis. We're looking at the NIST framework, containment, recovery, the project, and the incident response plan. We're going to see exactly how this builds into a comprehensive strategy. Honestly, if you want to make it out of a cyber emergency intact and actually keep your organization running, these 5 elements are your absolute lifelines.
Section 2. The NIST framework, the ultimate blueprint. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it sets up our entire foundation.
The NIST framework is essentially the overarching standard, protocol, and blueprint for responding to incidents. Think of it like the ultimate hospital protocol. When a patient is rushed into the ER, the medical team doesn't just, start randomly applying bandages or guessing what to do next. No way. They have a heavily tested, meticulously designed blueprint that guides all that chaotic emergency triage. Well, the NIST framework provides that exact same standardized guidance, but for a digital network under attack. It basically ensures that everyone on your team speaks the exact same language and follows the exact same rules when the pressure is on.
Section 3. Containment. Stop the active threat. So the alarms are still ringing, the breach is active, and we are stepping right into the line of fire. Speed and precision are literally everything right now. Stop the bleeding. Close the blast doors. In an incident response scenario, containment is strictly about stopping the active threat. We are firmly in the triage phase here. It's kind of like if a pipe bursts in your house, you don't start painting the drywall while the water is still spraying everywhere, right? Of course not. You shut off the main valve, you stop the bleeding. Containment means isolating the compromised systems so the attacker or the malware just cannot spread any further through your network. We aren't fixing the long-term damage yet. Actually, scratch that, we're not fixing any damage yet. We are just making sure the damage stops right here, right now.
Section 4. Recovery. Careful restoration.
And this brilliantly illustrates the critical difference between our 2 main action phases. Containment, stopping the active threat, is a completely different beast from recovery, which is all about restoring the system to normal operations. If containment was rapidly stopping the bleeding in the ER, recovery is more like the long, careful process of physical therapy. It's methodically cleaning the infected machines, securely restoring data from your backups, and carefully bringing systems back online. And all the while, you're constantly monitoring them to ensure the threat is truly gone. You absolutely cannot rush recovery, because if you do, you risk inviting the emergency right back in.
Section 5. Incident Response Plan. The Master Strategy.
Here's how we actually pull all of these concepts together into a cohesive, step-by-step emergency preparedness strategy. These aren't just isolated vocabulary words from our Day 48 syllabus, they form a highly sequential workflow. So the crucial point is execution. Step 1, you follow the NIST framework as your guiding doctrine. Step 2, when the incident occurs, you execute containment immediately to stop the bleeding. And Step 3, once that active threat is neutralized, you initiate recovery. Having this whole shebang properly documented in an official incident response plan means that when panic sets in, your team has a crystal clear checklist to fall back on. You don't have to debate what to do, you just execute the plan.
Section 6. The Project. Theory and Practice.
An incident response plan without a project is just an expensive doorstop.
It's funny, but man, it is incredibly true. You can write the most elegant, highly detailed, NIST-compliant document in the world, but if your team has never actually practiced it, it's virtually useless when a real attacker strikes. Mastering Day 48 culminates in the project, actively applying what we've just learned. This is where you run the drills, simulate the containment, and practice the recovery phases in a totally safe environment. You absolutely have to build up that organizational muscle memory so the plan actually works when you need it most.
Which brings us to our final critical question. You have the plan, but are you ready to execute? Today, we've taken the essential concepts of Day 48, from the standardized guiding principles of the NIST framework, to the critical triage actions of containment, to the careful physical therapy of recovery. And we've structured them all into a highly cohesive incident response plan. But look, knowing the theory is only half the battle. The true test lies in the project, in the rigorous practice, and in your personal readiness to step up and perform when the alarms inevitably sound. So, take this knowledge, run your drills, and make absolutely sure your team is prepared for anything. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll see you in the next one.